All right, we're back. I got my United Shield International shield. This is the ERT model. As you can see, it's got a lot of different grip positions on it, which I like. I'm definitely a fan of the strap. I used to run a rifle grade shield. It was a monster, probably weighed 45 pounds, and if I didn't have a strap with it, I could definitely tell the difference. So whichever shield you use, I definitely prefer a strap. This is a 3A, which means this is going to be a pistol grade shield, so it's not going to be too heavy for me. Whether it's pistol grade or rifle grade shield, what I want to do is I like to start out with just simply coming from a low ready position like I would be when I'm clearing a house or moving through a field or whatever I'm doing. So meaning I want to be in this position here. I'm not going to be walking around with my gun up and having a sight picture. And with the way I have to come around the shield, it's a lot different than, especially my two-hand shooting stroke, a draw stroke, but even my one-hand shooting, because I have the kink here with the arm, and it wants to make my hand go this way and my gun orient like this. So I spend a lot of time just on this basic getting reps. As you saw in some of our previous videos, with the just the handgun by itself, I'll do a lot of those same drills with the shield. So the 1, 2, 3. And what we're gonna start out here is that 1, 2, 3 drill. And what I mean with this is I'm gonna do 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds. I can, again, build up to however long a string I want. But primary purpose for this first is making sure I bring it up, whether I'm shooting with irons or a dot, that I'm getting my confirmation of whatever sighting system I'm using before I press that trigger. I'm gonna do a few reps just on my own dry. I don't have to be shooting to get training, all right? Dry fire is worth its weight in gold. We don't have all the ammunition in the world. We don't live on a range. So with the shield, if you're wearing any kind of hat, you're gonna wanna turn it around backwards because I really want my head up as close to this viewport as possible. If I keep the shield away, it's really blocking a lot of my peripheral view. So when I'm working the shield, that's one thing that I want to keep in mind, or if I'm training somebody, they keep reminding me, hey, keep that shield nice and close to your head. Don't let yourself get lazy. So first one, just coming from that ready position here. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some movement. So like I did before with just the pistol, taking a step left, taking a step right. Next, using my cones, I'm just going to simply work on shooting on the move. So now, starting the center, I'm going to move left, and I'm going to move back to the right. And then I'll switch that up the next time. With especially the shield work, I like to give myself a smaller target. If I use a big target, a lot of times it's too easy to get sloppy with it, so I like to hold myself accountable and use a small target when I'm working on these 5-yard shield movement drills. It feels like it keeps me honest, makes me concentrate on what I need to see. This next one, we shot on the move. Now I'm going to work on sprinting to the cone, shooting 2 rounds when I get there. Now, I'm just going to build on the drill. So I'll start center of the cones, low ready position. Fire 1 round. Sprint to whichever cone I want, fire 2 rounds. Sprint to the next cone, fire 3 rounds. The final evolution of this drill, I'm going to combine all 3 pieces. So starting in the middle, low ready, 1 round, sprint to the cone, fire 2 rounds, and then I'm going to shoot on the move, firing 3 rounds. So I'm adding simply coming from the ready, moving to shoot, and then shooting on the move, all in the same drill. And I like this progression, especially if I'm working with a group, because it kind of builds up. I really don't have to change anything as far as my setup on the range. So again, starting from low ready, 1 shot, sprint to whichever cone I want, 2 shots, and then shooting on the move, 3 shots. All right, this next drill I call the part-time drill. You can run it with pistol rifle. I'm using the United Shield International Shield today, the ERT, to run it with. If you're a shield operator, make it mandatory every range day you're training with your shield. Absolutely mandatory. Part-time, you can set the part-time however you want, but you're gonna wanna have a target similar to this where you have dots of different sizes. If you don't have that, just get a marker out, a can of spray paint, whatever it is, and just make easier targets to harder targets as far as the size. Distance is up to you. I'm gonna shoot it at 5 yards today. I set the part-time for 3 seconds. I'm gonna come from the low ready position with my shield. My goal is, in that 3-second part-time, starting with the biggest circle, fire as many rounds as I can in that 3 seconds. If I get at least 2 hits under that 3 seconds, that gives me permission to move on to the next smaller target. You cannot stack, meaning if on round iteration 1, I got 1 hit in there, and then the second iteration I got 1 hit in there, I can't count that as my 2 to move on. So it has to be within that 3-second time period. If you miss, you don't get your 2, you're shooting that same dot again, trying to get 2 hits under that 3 seconds to give you permission to move on. I'm running it by myself, so I have a timer set with a 3-second part-time. If you're doing this with a group, if you're training with your team or whatever it is, simply have their partner stand behind them, and me as the instructor would have my hand up. I'd be listening to the part-time because nobody else is going to hear it but me. When I bring my hand down, that gives everybody else, all the partners will tap their shooter on the back, and that's a way to tell them to stop. Good, I got 2 or more hits, gives me permission to move on. Same thing, keep progressing up to this next smallest circle. So again, part-time drill, you're gonna miss, it's gonna be frustrating. If I continue to go, I could aim for the very smallest little dot on the top of the logo there.
Told 'em all, you ain't seen nothing. I've been putting on the work, and if you ain't sawing with me, you ain't real.